So this is what happened when I decided to just do one big thing for the whole year. Just promote one thing for the whole year. So back in 2023, I had, coming out of the whole COVID crisis, and as we went back into doing in-person meetings and in-person events, I felt like I wasn't ready. And I feel like I was having some post-traumatic stress syndrome. Like I was just wasn't feeling right, and I wasn't ready to be jumping back into all of these things. So I had a coaching business that wasn't really working anymore. I had a merch line that wasn't really selling, and I felt like my books were still selling. I was still getting commissions or royalty checks from my books. And I had a commissions sales business that I was making money on consulting. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to stop all this extra, what I call my side hustles. I'm just going to focus on my consulting business, and the books, they're just doing whatever they do. So I don't really need to worry about that. And I kind of let go of everything and said to myself, like even the speaking events I wasn't doing anymore. I said to myself, maybe I've peaked. I've gone as high as I can go with that. Now it's time to let that go and move on to something else and see what the next chapter in my success journey, in my motivational journey, the next chapter, what will that bring? So as I let all that go, and I kind of just enjoyed the summer, enjoyed time with my family, and I started reflecting on, I've had an amazing career. I said to myself, I've been able to become an award-winning author, speak on stage, be a motivational speaker, just because I decided to do it. I said, but what was the real mechanism? What was the real, the magic? How did that really happen? How was I able to just take my thoughts and my ideas and then turn that into this tangible reality? And as I started reflecting, I realized I have another book to write. Because at that point, I had decided I wasn't going to write any more books for a while because I wasn't inspired. I had like 3 or 4 ideas for books that I wanted to write, but it didn't feel like writing them. I just wasn't inspired or motivated to write them. Then all of a sudden, it just hit me. I need to write this book about how I was actually able to do things that I shouldn't have been able to do on paper. Like I shouldn't be able to become an award-winning author on paper. I don't have the qualifications for it. I'm not the greatest speller. I just don't have the stats that would say this person is qualified to be an award-winning author. But I achieved it anyways. And as I started looking at, okay, there's a mechanism, there's a method, there's a process that I used to be able to do this. I started reflecting on it. I realized that's another book. And so I wrote the book, Extra Time Actuality, and it was all about that journey of how I was able to do the things that I'm not supposed to be able to do, my personal impossibles. So once I wrote that book, it hit me that, every time I've written a book, I've promoted it for the first 3 months of the book, and then I move on to something else, whether it's something to do with the book, like a training or speaking events or whatever it is. But I've never spent a whole year just promoting the book. And I said to myself, what would happen if that was my one big thing I do this year, is just promote that book for 12 months straight in all the different ways that you promote the book. So as I started to look at that process and what that process looks like, I realized, okay, the first step what I always take is to get it into book clubs for unbiased reviews, to see if the book is as good as I think it is. So that's the first step that I took, was submitting the book into reviews. And then once I realized the book was as good as I thought it was, I decided to put it into some book competitions, see if I can win some awards, because I really felt like it was an award-winning book. And as that started to develop, and then there's a big time lapse between when you put the book in the awards and then when you actually receive the awards. So as I got into like the fourth month or so, I realized, okay, I've been doing a lot of marketing and promoting, but I need to reach a bigger audience. How do I reach an audience outside of my audience? And then the idea came to me to put together a podcast guest tour and be a guest on different people's podcasts. And as soon as that idea came to me, all of a sudden, I found like 7 podcasts. I had 7 podcasts booked in the first day that I started looking. And I continually started booking podcasts throughout the months. I ended up doing over 30 podcasts. I did some in England, some in different countries in Africa, in the Caribbean, all throughout the US. I even did one in Australia, one in Germany. So I was like an international book tour. And one of the things that came out of that was people were really interested in this. How do you achieve your personal impossibles? How did you actually do all of these things that you talked about in the book, and really diving deep into, in the podcast, some of the tricks and tips and the cheat codes and the insight and the breakthroughs, mindset breakthroughs. So I shared a lot of that stuff in those different various podcasts. So each podcast I gave a different nugget because it was a natural conversation of how it went. So as I did that attracted speaking summits. And all of a sudden I was doing speaking summits, all because I decided to promote this book, and just only promote this book for the 12 months. So by the time I got to the end of the year, this is 2024, I had booked and spoke at 3 different speaking summits, plus I had speaking summits booked for 2025. And I'm still promoting this book, and it's opening more and more doors for me to be able to do the big things that I want to do. And so now this year, I decided, okay, I'm going to spend the whole year, still promoting the book, but also really developing my YouTube channel and really growing that YouTube channel. And I think if everything goes the way it did for 2024, with only promoting that one thing for the whole year, if I do the same methods, I think that the YouTube channel is going to blow up as well. So the point of the video is, sometimes you only have to do that one thing and stick to that one thing, and look at, instead of when it starts to get stagnant, look at different things that you can do to bring it back to life. Like the podcast tour was a huge development for me. If I hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't have been able to promote the book for 12 months, because it was just going to be repetitive, the same thing over and over. But by connecting to the podcast tour, being able to put that together, I was reaching different audiences all over the world, just from my little office, just from here, in this same setup that I have right now that I'm making videos. So it was a powerful breakthrough for me. And it really led me to all the things that I'm doing now. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is just really try doing just one big thing and sticking to it for the whole 12 months. I bet you're going to find that those results are going to be amazing for you. It really works. So subscribe to this channel, like this video, check my links in the description for how you can connect with the books, and follow me on Instagram. And until next time, that's it for this video. So until next time, you heard.